So, okay, I changed the scene here. Let me know if y'all can hear. No audio when I show things. Okay, what about now? Okay, so when I'm included in the scene, y'all can kind of hear. Okay, so what we'll do is make sure I don't do any single photos and stuff. Okay, so anyway, at this point, you all should be able to see this. This is, you see the tail on this embryo, right? You see the tail on this embryo. This is a reptilian baby tail. I just want you all to kind of know that so that we kind of get into what we're talking about here. And like I said, I'll make sure I clean all of this up later. But if you all can see that, you will see that. So another scene I'm going to find and let you know. How do I know? And so basically, in this case, we're talking about, there you go, a reptilian tail. Now, why is this significant tonight? Because I'm just having a conversation of saying this is what we're looking at now. Once again, we have the zeta reticular, which we talked about before, which is the babies when it comes down to it. This is, again, a reptilian hybrid baby uh, that you can be looking at here on the screen. And so some of this stuff should look familiar to some of you. It should look really familiar as we go down this rabbit hole of what's happening. And it should be really familiar. And like I said, I'm practicing on a new scene today. A new, we're at a different studio. The other one is our command center in Mansville, and so I should have done a better job of testing all this before we got here. But anyway, I'm going to make a point tonight, though. I'm going to make a point for all of you to really see what's happening here from there. Okay, so I think I made my point that you've seen number one, a reptilian baby, and then number two, you're getting ready to look at a uh, hybrid gray baby. Okay, so uh, does this look familiar to any one of you in the chat? So let's see what you got. Let me know what you have here before we go any further. Like I said, we're using a whole new software system today, whole new location for the software system, and so I guess you are going to be the test today, making sure everything goes what I not need to do, not to do, and find out what needs to happen, and pretty much. But do any of this look familiar? That's the main thing to you. Now, surprisingly enough, what we're going to be talking about is the fact that I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag, people. These are humans. These are humans, okay? I just want you to know this is a human fetus, okay? And this is the point when we talk about how humans are being hybrid between grays and reptilians. The reptilians and the zeta reticulars bred together, and they began to breed into what we call the human species. So, for example, look at the tail on this thing. Look at what we're seeing, and this is a human. This is all of us at 4 weeks old. And you got to think about the evolution or the metamorphosis of these fetus and what it goes through. So at 4 weeks old, the human body has a tail. And that's not, you see the umbilical cord, you see there's legs there. And shocking enough that is a reptilian reptilian tail, which means that each one of us at some point have a reptilian tail, and so, and it needs to be more of a confession, right? And let me give you a better look at this. Once again, this is a human fetus, all right? You see the legs on this thing, right? You see the legs on this fetus, and you still see the actual tail. Uh, Somebody said, "Where did my tail go?" You feel cheated. Well, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all if that's the case. But at the end of the day, it exactly what it is. But I'm just saying, I'm just using this today just to kind of talk a little bit, and pretty much. And again, I apologize for the difficulties in the audio and visual and all this stuff. I have to kind of repair this today and figure out what's really happening there. But that's what happens when you fly into battle with an untested weapon, and so we're definitely like doing that. But look, where I'm going with this is too, this is a tale that is on a human baby that is real. This is not AI generated. This is not. And what I'm saying is not to talk about anybody. This is just saying, instead of them trying to say, oh, it's some type of disease or something else, then why wouldn't it be a confession to a fact that there's a possibility that there is a mixture between the humans as well as reptilian, because again, we all have this in us. Now, the sciences always says we have a reptilian brain. They already said that we got a reptilian brain. So far, what are y'all thoughts on this? Let me know, what are y'all thoughts on seeing this picture, and then also knowing this particular picture is each and every one of us. And does that tell you a little bit that just, and then we don't even talk about how we're born within a water sac, right? That just like a reptilian in an egg, we're born in an egg sac anyway. And how is a baby is sitting underwater? You're not breathing through your umbilical cord, you're sitting in the water, and you're in the stomach there, or wherever you want to call it, and there you go. And someone said they intertwine the serpents. Yeah, I mean, you get what I'm saying. So it's things that we could look at and see that this could be a possible. So are we the human experiment? I wouldn't say we are the human experiment, but I would say long enough to a point that we have been genetically modified. If you want to go back to the beginning of time, and in some cases, as you can see, they take that tail off. And so someone said, I met a kid in Colorado Springs in '88 that had one. All right. I mean, they didn't even take his tail off. He still had it. I mean, that's something that, maybe medically at that point, it cost a lot to take it off or something. But, there's a lot of things that tell us that we, again, are possibly at a point to, this is what's happening. Now, another thing is, think about some of this. This is a hand here that I'm showing you that, in particularly, we all, if we spread our own hands in and we kind of see web, that we have web feet or web hands, and those, a lot of those things when it comes down to this. What does David Icke say? He's always said that there's been reptilian hybrids that have interbred with humans. That's been, David Icke, that's been his whole conversation in most of all his books, especially the one that called the Biggest Secrets or whatever. Anybody, you should get that particular book. It'll break down all of this stuff in the beginning of what's going on. And like I said, this is stuff that every one of us have. These are things that each and every one of us have dealt with at some point. And it just makes a lot of sense that we are looking at these things in that particular capacity, right? And so, my thing is, as I'm commonly talking about it right now, saying, well, whoa, why is it that it's hard for people to believe? But if you go back billions of years, this planet been here billions of years. You go back to all the documentations. You're going to go back to everything you can think of. There was some point that they were talking about serpent knowledge, right? If you go back to the Nagas, you go back to Mesopotamia, you go back to all of ancient civilizations from Africa to Egypt. Egypt, the pharaohs wear the serpent on the top. There's a Python mountain. I don't know which country it's in, but it still exists there, so that all of these people are talking about it. But you go back to, like I said, there's not one ancient civilization prior to religion that at some point did not talk about there was some type of serpent intervention or higher knowledge or anything from there. I even did a short video that I was talking about the rod of Osopolis, which is at that point was the single serpent around a rod. It had wings that was at one time was for knowledge, medical wisdom, and everything else. And then the medical industry changed it to the caduceus, or the one from Hermes, right? And that one's got the two snakes with the wings, in which that ties all the way back to magic, alchemy, moving between two worlds. Maybe medical felt that, hey, when our bodies leave here, we're going into other worlds. And so all of these things then began to depict the fact that there are some type of connection between us and ancient civilizations that connected back to serpent knowledge. And so we were been told one thing. Now, what does that really mean for us? Why would we even care? Well, what if there's knowledge there? What if our DNA have special things in it? Because they're also moving in between 3D, 4D, and 5D, the reptilians, what if we have the possibility of doing that? Because it's all based on DNA. What if they don't want us to remember that while they were doing this manufacturing, while they were placing us, into this particular thing, then all of a sudden, there you go. There was an issue there. So we have to look at it and say, well, do we have some special powers or anything else? Let me know what you all think in the chat a little bit so far of just seeing these pictures and then knowing that those embryos are you. Those embryos are me. Those are us that we, and let me go back to one right now. Like I said, at this time, this is about 10 weeks old. We're now looking like gray aliens. Okay. We're about 10 weeks old. We're looking at gray aliens. And why is that? Why are we looking at like gray aliens? So think about now that gray alien, you see that arrow still pointing at is now the tail is going away. Okay. And so it went from reptilian, which is the original form. Now we're thinking million years of evolution, but do a baby in a woman's womb go through evolution? Why between the 9 and 8, 1 month or 10 months or 9 months, whenever it is born? Is that some type of cycle accelerated evolution that is happening? So if you think about that period, that we have the alien, you have the reptilian stuff. This is in the first 4 weeks. Okay. So it started out as this reptilian embryo of 4 weeks. Then it turned around and found its way to begin to change into the gray alien, because that we're mixed with the zetas. And then ultimately we have this beautiful babies that you and I both, all of us look like, at this point. But, again, scientists says we got a reptilian brain. Most of your weight loss and presumably, or some, I would say allegedly, some of this stuff is mixed with lizard DNA, all these new shots and things that they're having today. And so what does all that mean? It just means that there is a possibility, as I keep saying, that we have some type of genetic alteration that has been done to our DNA. And once again, it is just more of the proof than everything else. And while I got y'all here, let me just kind of make a quick announcement. As some of you should know, coming up March 14th, we're going to have Yaya, if y'all seen Yaya's World on Instagram. So she's going to be here in Dallas. Now, March 10th is my birthday, of course. March 14th is 4 days later, that Saturday. Any of you who come to the live event, right after it, we're going to do a birthday celebration. I'm working on getting a DJ and all that good stuff. And so you're welcome to be there. Or maybe some of you may not come to the event. You just want to show up later for the birthday party, whatever. You can do that as well. And so we're not complaining about that. But you can also watch online, okay? And now's the time to go ahead and get your streaming tickets. You just go to entertruth.com and you'll be able to do that as well. And then right after that, we will have Billy back here in Dallas, April the 11th. In Dallas, you have an option of watching that online, or you have you can come live in person there, and then you can get your tickets right there. So both of these right now are at their prices for what I would call early birds and everything else. And Yaya is going to be totally uncensored. We're going to be talking about some sugar honey iced tea, right? We're going to be really going deep on some sugar honey iced tea. So I'm just telling you, get involved with that deal and find out that as quickly as possible. Okay. And so we're going to be doing that as well. So anyway, let me get back down to what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me just get you guys involved. Let's get you guys involved. Tell me, I'm going to put back up this picture, and I want you in the chat to tell me your thoughts. Once again, when you see this photograph, okay? When you see this photograph, uh, tell me your thoughts right now. Tell me your thoughts right now when you see this particular um, uh, image. You know, when you see that, what are your thoughts? That'll be good for us to kind of know what is happening there, because I would love to kind of know your thoughts. And I'll look over here in the chat. So just get involved. Let me know your thoughts when you see this particular photo. I mean, you know, it just makes sense. I want to know what you think. I want to know, you know, how you feel about it. Somebody said tadpole. Okay. All right, we'll go with that answer too. All right, you saying it's a tadpole? Let's go with the tadpole. Um, but let's keep going. Who else? Give me some thoughts. Give me what you all think when you see this picture. And I mean, again, people, this is not to upset anybody. This is not ridicule for anybody. This is just us asking a question, because I think it is in our best interest to kind of know what is happening. Because when you start thinking about those Epstein files and you start seeing how they at some point knew who they were, they knew who they were. And at some point, these people start doing what? Vampirism, I would say, allegedly. You know, of course, you know, eating flesh and beef jerky and all these things. Now, of course, they're not going to go to jail for that. There is no law against cannibalism or whatever, especially if you walk yourself in there and said, eat me, you know, at some point. So they're not going to jail. We already know that. So where I'm going with this is, what is it that they know and understand, or in some other way, that there is hybrids? Now, we can go all the way back to the royal families. We can go all the way back to the bloodlines, all the way over to that country where they don't really want us talking about, right? And everybody talks about it. But my thing is, I've always been on the hunt, I would say, to get this discovery done, right? And sometimes people be like, well, where are you getting this from? Now, again, what I'm showing you is not a made up thing. It's not something that I just picked up out of the of whatever. It is exactly the illustration that you're seeing right now. You know, that's where that come from. You know, and blatantly as it is, what would they say? You know, and how we want to think about um, being the truth. Now, having said that, then we already can then start confirming alien civilizations. We can start confirming, you know, you know, the Galactic Federation, if some people want to say that. Does it exist? Is there somebody watching us? Is there somebody truly, uh, you know, paying close attention to what is happening here on Earth? Are we being protected, or is there some type of plot? Now, let's get into the story of the reptilian story. So, and we kind of give you some backstory about this, right? And the backstory had always been, at some point, that we were here. I mean, the reptilians was here uh, billions of years ago, or when we're talking about the Jurassic age, when the dinosaurs and all that stuff was here, they were here. And at some point, there wasn't there this was a water planet. It was kind of a dark water planet. Now, and the fact that it was mostly water. So then whoever came with the idea and said, hey, let's get them off this planet, and then began the process of, as we know, the extinction level events, the dinosaurs, and supposedly they hybrid from there into the dinosaur age, or Tyrannosaurus rexes and all this stuff. And then, of course, they get wiped out. Then, in order to change the climate here, in order to get this place to be able to, uh, uh, you know, hold human population, or humans, or mammalian, I would say mammals or whatever, then that's when they brought in the moon. The moon was here and was designed to It was parked here, by the way. It wasn't here. Go back to some of your ancient tablets. It wasn't there. All of a sudden it just appeared. And when you start thinking about the moon, the stories of the moon being hollow, and the stories of being on the far side of the moon where, it never has the sun there because it's not rotating like that. But you start hearing the stories that the moon, again, is kind of a satellite watching us, but it was designed. It is the moon that determines the seasons. It's the moon that determines when you think about at night, or you think about the waves that come in, and you go back to some of the ancient stuff. You remember it used to be dark, completely dark. Darkness was the time that a lot of crimes, a lot of stuff happened. And so it was one of the most feared times in human civilization. When the sun went away, it was just completely dark. All right. And then the moon came in, and then they started calling it lunar. Lunar was a word for lunatic, right? And because crazy things was happening, people were changing. And as we already know, we got our moon signs, we got different times of the moon, and it's just so much with the moon. But the moon was where the seasons came to begin to change the climate of the planet. And by changing the climate of the planet, it then made the reptilians have a choice. They needed to go underground or get off. Some left, which we already know, which can tie back into the Anunnaki stories, which there was a species that came in here too, and hybrid and all of that is a whole nother story. But the whole point was that the moon brought in the climates. And at this point now it's no longer just a water planet, right? It became that. But that doesn't change anything for us. It doesn't change in the fact that any of you right now, if you were to take your hand and you put your hand in some water for about 2 hours, start looking at what it looks like. Start seeing how evolution changes so quickly, you being in the water. Especially if you go back, some of us, you've been swimming all day, right? You've been out to the lakes, you've been whatever, and you start looking at your hand after the fact of all of that, then you be like, what is really going on in the skin, and what's happening? If you get people that are out to water for days and all of this stuff, your hand completely, or your body, if you were submerged the whole time, starting with the hands, completely change. And those are the different things that you should at least really pay a close attention to, because it is possible, once again, that there is some type of evolution in what we have. And they don't lie, right? The proof of that stuff can't lie to us, right? It's not that. It's not going to lie that we have to lie to ourselves, or pretty much do that. But then why wouldn't we want the truth? Okay. And now I know most of you are like, well, shit, what difference does it make? I'm a half lizard. Well, it could make a lot of difference. You got to think about it. Even some of us, our skins, and think about it. If we did not groom ourselves, let's say you did not groom, everybody in here, you did not groom yourself for 3 or 4 months. Imagine what you look like. Okay, let's go 6 months. I don't give a damn. You the most prettiest woman in this chat, or man, but I'm gonna say woman because I'm a man, right? But the whole point I'm saying that you could be the most beautiful woman in this chat. All right. Try not grooming yourself for a year or two. Just go out in the wilderness and just live like a hermit. Let your nails grow, all that other stuff grow, and see what you look like. Okay? Look at your skin. It's going to have some scales. It's going to shed. It's going to be doing a whole lot of stuff. The nails, you're going to look like a whatever, one of these creatures. You're going to look like a creature, period. And then try to approach somebody and tell them I'm beautiful, and haven't done that in 2 years, and see what happens. I ain't even talking about bathing yet. We're just talking about let it grow. Just let it grow and see what you look like, and pretty much, and you'll be like, oh, really? Uh, and so somebody said our skin gets scaly even without lotion. Yeah, I mean, that's the point. And that's because your skin is going through some hybrid type of scenario when it comes down to it. Now, make no mistake about it. If you want to go back to all the different alien species, there are some people that are half dolphin, and we talked about it, half avian, or maybe got DNA of all types of creatures. We already know this, and this is something that happens all the time. But where I'm going with this is that this is something that really is things that we should be looking at in understanding this, right? Now, I know a lot of you been like, Ryder, where you come from this, and if you're here for the first time, let me just give you some background a little bit. As being a UFO investigator, certified UFO investigator, TV personality, books that I've written, been on all these different TV shows, Open Mind, Beyond Belief, hosted it on Alien Endgame, Gaia, forbidden knowledge in ancient aliens. And so I've been in this thing. I've been in this thing for quite some time. And so when I do share with you what we're talking about, then it's real stuff because, again, it just kind of let you know that, it's worth us looking into. And like I said, and then the Epstein files, I'm going to make sure I tie that back in, is a clear indicator, 100% indicator that there was some bloodline things, because in those files, they constantly talked about bloodlines. They constantly talked about DNA. He was doing cloning, or he was going through different DNA. And then, of course, the people remember the lady, publicly said that he shapeshifted, and they were particularly looking for DNA. Now, I read a book most recently that you can go look up as Voyagers or whatever, but the book was talking about that the Zetas, or the reptilians and the Zetas and some of the aliens, were more concerned about the bloodlines over there, in that we be talking to the names that we really can't say over there. But Epstein said it too. We want only Pacific DNA. The Illuminati, they do it too. They want different certain DNA when it came down to their mind, not just mind control, but when it came down to their SA and different things that they were doing. But it was all DNA. So everybody looks for the DNA. And so if you start thinking about your DNA, my DNA, then it makes a lot of sense that at the end of the day, that at some point we all, every last one of us, and like I say, this is every last one of us. This is all of us, pretty much, that we were born and look like this, even myself, right? So I think that when we start looking back at all of this, it just confirms that there's life, there Earth, there's galactic stuff that's out there, which lend us to have those conversations that we've been having, where there's people right now who feel that there are star seeds, or know that there are star seeds, or maybe they're earth angels, maybe they're light workers, maybe and there's people who are tapped in, there's people who are getting tapped in, and then there's people who are walking around here going, man, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't even feel right at this place. This place is crazy. Why am I here? And so those are things that, if you're feeling that way, then it's a reason for that. It's a huge reason to why you're feeling that way, because obviously somewhere along in this DNA chain that you have, then your DNA is screaming to tell you you're not what you see in that mirror. You're not who you think you are. And it is worth you knowing, because there is also a reason. Maybe, we're being reincarnated, and there's people being incarnated. We talk about that a lot, right? There's people that come back here being here because they're looking at a fact to say, hey, this is what they're doing. Or I'm coming back to help mankind because they made their way out of this prison planet, right? We talk about it's been a prison planet. And why are we trapped here? Maybe it's our souls. We talk about the energetic beings, or we're like batteries of who we are. I'm just filling out all of this stuff, right? And so you can think about it any which way that you want. But at the end of the day, my whole purpose tonight was just to kind of throw this up here so that you can kind of say, maybe there is some things in there in doing that. So we got enough people in here in this chat to kind of talk about a few things. So kind of let me know what y'all thoughts are. Someone else saying, and my chat's on the delay, but it says, I have to be honest, I don't think Michael Jackson had plastic surgery. I think he shapeshifted. His dad also had unique eyes. Well, if you go back, Cash, to earlier YouTube channel, not early of my YouTube channel, maybe a couple of years ago, I had a guy named Darren, and he was the son of the Shalites from Chicago area or wherever they're from. But anyway, his father then worked with the Jacksons, and particularly Joe Jackson. He gave a live interview here where he talked about, witnessing them shape shifting, eating live rats, and all these different things. And of course, he's written a book about it, but he was on our show. So if y'all go back and look on a live stream a couple of years ago, you'll kind of see that. Uh, Someone said, "What did they say about if a baby's skin is a little gray? Then he's gray. Then he's a gray." It's not what they say about it; it's what you see, right, Marlon? So I think it's more or less saying that again, there you have the grays, you got the tall grays, you have zeta reticular grays. Okay, zeta reticular grays are the ones who are working with the reptilians today. That's who does most of the abductions. The reptilians are looking for something. The grays are looking for something. The grays are a little bit concerned because they have lost their way of reproducing. Because they've been, you got to remember, some of these have been around millions of years. We're new. Okay, we're pretty new, but they've been around millions of years, and so therefore the grays, they don't reproduce like we do, and so they have always been hybriding. Them the ones who do most of your abductions, and they're doing it for everybody else too, right? So these guys are pretty much pretty easy because there are some rules. There are some rules that says don't mess with us here. But some of them don't follow those rules. They don't give a damn about those rules. And so therefore they pretty much violate the planet rules when it comes to this, especially abducting us and everything else. And pretty much I need to take 60 seconds here to show a quick promo. And hopefully you guys will stay right here. And but it's important. You're going to like it. Let me play it right now and make sure that volume is, they can hear this promo for me.
I want to thank everybody who's got your copy of the Book of Sacred Secrets. I've been getting incredible reviews on people and how this has been helping people today. This is something that you must have in your arsenal. This book is going to be life-changing for you. It's a downloadable copy, so you'll be able to print it up, print a sheet up, or whatever you want. Study it, take it to work, give it to someone, and maybe some in particular information. But this is something that you need in your arsenal. Go to the website. The link is right here in the description. It's also in the video as well. You got to get your copy of the Book of Sacred Secrets. And once again, it supports the community. True information is from the cosmos, from infinite consciousness that you need to learn and you need to have in your arsenal.
All right. So there we go. So anyway, yeah, I think that when we start looking at, I see a few of y'all was talking about a few things in here, but um, when you start thinking about um, all of this, Earth, the realms that we're in, the question is, how do we get off this planet? How do we get off the planet if we wanted to? And I think the best way to really think about getting off that planet is going to be um, ascending, right? And that's going to go through higher vibration. That's going to go through because we're energetic beings, okay? And so we're just in this meat suit right now, right? We're just in this suit that we are, but how we do it. Now, when you start looking at everything, and us being energy, with us being light beings, how we were created from sound from light to sound, or sound to light, right, vice versa. And then all of a sudden going into this crystallized state that we're in, and then of course into the third dimension where we are today, then this thing is huge. All of this stuff is huge. So even now we could be in some holographic world where we're standing in right now, what we see and what we're manifesting. Now it is said at some point that as above, so below, but as within, so without. So we are projecting this reality that you and I are sitting in. Now, of course, at some point we were supposed to be able, we can make those changes, but then having that to be true then ties into how reptilians and other technology are always into our minds or always trying to project a new look of reality in the world that we're in. And supposedly it's all a projection in the first place, right? And then that is the point of saying, wait a minute, it's not this flesh body that is being trapped here. It's something else that they're after. And of course, you look at the movie The Matrix, right? When Morpheus held up, I'll put this up right here. When Morpheus held up like the human body has more charge than a human battery. You remember that? And he was talking about how, remember the AI robots at this point realized that, and they started building and harvesting humans to form their energy when they blocked out the solar sun. So it's like, oh wow, it's something that we want to look at. So I wouldn't say we're stuck in the matrix, because once you learn and you learn what to look for, I'm sure when you leave here that your consciousness is aware of what's happening. And I'm sure if you know now not to walk into the light and kind of wait for your moment of darkness to become light, then you probably know that. Now, I probably didn't know that the last time I was here, but I've been told a few times this the last time. So we got to think about all of that. But let me go all the way back to the beginning of what we're talking about here on this show. And that is you, me, somebody is got some lizard in them. Let me just bag up to where I'm talking about. There's some lizard in some people, and they don't want us to know about it. Now, again, I don't have a stance on it saying, okay, man, once you found out that you're a reptilian, googly the goggler, Roderick, you're a reptilian, and so that just means that you're a better species. You can jump over trees or run faster or whatever. I don't know exactly to say that that's the solution to the fact that we finding out this. But when we're looking for truth has to become part of all the pieces in order to get the full picture of whatever it is. And the fact that I think if we then begin the process of knowing that there is a possibility that there is some type of connection between us humans and them, then that can lead us down the rabbit hole to get other stuff that you didn't think was true at some point due to cognitive dissonance. There you go, okay, if that is true, then there's a possibility that this over here could be true, or this hidden knowledge could be true, or this esoteric occult information could be valuable to use. And all of a sudden now you're moving in a whole different direction. You're now getting enlightenment like you're supposed to have, because your quest for knowledge begins to be very strong, begins to be a point that it then makes a lot of sense for you to say, okay, let me explore these things. Now, if you're watching me and you're a reptilian, make contact. Make contact. And then, of course, you need to shapeshift or make your eyes blink or something so I can believe it, other than you just saying that I'm a reptilian. Because we got people walking around our community that say they're reptilian, okay? But if you're a reptilian, then you can do that. Also, if you're watching this and you're in a Dallas area, put it in the chat. Give a shout out to Dallas, all right? I want you to say Dallas, or you're in Fort Worth, or maybe you are close by, but you're in Dallas area, Fort Worth, maybe one of these surrounding little areas around here. Put in the chat, especially if you're watching this live and it's over with, then definitely give a shout out to you there, because we're just paying special attention to you folks that are nearby for a reason, okay? And just kind of doing that. But to say the least, for those of you who are watching, who also know, you know what? I haven't put up a few things we'll talk about as far as the birthday stuff. Every year I kind of put something up that you guys kind of help and offer, but we're going to do something a little different this year. But do y'all have any questions now? Let's do a Q&A in the chat right now. And so, and whatever that may be, just remember there's going to be a little delay, because this new system that I'm in, for some reason, I am not seeing the chats, but I do have my window over here that I can kind of see some stuff a little slower. But at the end of the day, I can see some stuff. So let's do a Q&A, and I'll be looking for I can't put it on the screen like I could if I was using another service. And but either way, I can see it. But it'll be a little delay, so just don't think I'm out. Somebody said, "How about them?" Oh, okay, you're talking about Chinese Western robots. That's not. All right, so let's do a Q&A before we get out of here about. And if we want to stay a little topic, let's just go here. Um, let's do some Q&A. That's you. That is you with your little tail, your little pointy tail, your big head like a gray, big old eyes like a gray, uh, and pretty much from there. Yeah, someone that our godmother said, "I like the hat." Yes, this is our all there is, has been, and ever can be. The source, I. I know y'all got some questions. Come on now, there's a bunch of y'all in here that y'all know y'all got some questions that we can talk about and pretty much get to the bottom of any of that. And yeah, so there's any questions, let's go. Let's see what we got. Um, let's see. Anyone got any questions? All right. So with that being said, I'll talk a little bit more before we do have a question. We actually did have a question that was way back. So when you were showing those slides, say, are we more than just two alien races? Okay, so the question that someone was asking, are we more than two alien races? Absolutely. Um, Now, there are some more dominant than others, and you got to remember there's a lot of different human lineages. Okay, so let's look at it from that standpoint so that we're not looking at we all are from the same lineage. Okay, that doesn't mean uh, because you had, once again, you had humanoid dolphins, you had avians, animals, lyrians, and all of these. So those DNA strands is between a lot of different species. Now, there's all us being as humans. And so, yes, there's a lot of us that are a mixture of a lot of different species. Now, there's going to be what they call different strands of DNA, and some more dominant than others. But at the end of the day, when you start looking genetically, and now here's something else let me point out. You got to remember, we're on our fifth time here. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Civilization's been wiped out four times prior to this. There's been a reset on global cataclysms out of this world that have resetted us for quite some time. And so, then when you start thinking about that, then some species that we were here before and some of them here are not here. So they have been altered at some point. But then there are some that's been tucked away, reborn, maybe new hybrids or maybe cloned or whatever we want to do. But the answer is yes, we are a mixture of a lot of, Heinz 57. That's what they used to call them in my neighborhood, old dogs that was messed with everything. We we're the Heinz 57. I'm just telling you. You know what I'm saying? But think about it. Everybody looks so different anyway. Think about, and then you got all the different races on the planet. Somebody came and each one had their little, nickety knack that they wanted to put in this deal, and that's truly what happened. And so those are things that we could look at, but at the end of the day, yeah. So when you start thinking about even things like autism and all of these things that we think is negative, and you start looking at the gifts that these children really have, these are hybrid situations that they know about, right? And just so happen certain genetic clicks a certain way. And that's a great question. Someone said, who decides to reset? That will be the creator. Okay. That will be the creator. In fact, we had movie night this past Friday here in our community, and we watched some deep stuff. That there was a reset, right? There was a great reset. For some of you who didn't make the movie night, it's 3 episodes. You can find it on Amazon. It is deep. When I tell you it's deep, really deep. You're going to see how they run this planet, who does what they expect, and how it is. It's called The Children's End. Okay, Children's End. That's the name of the movie. You can go and watch it. We had a blast. Now, 3 episodes. We won't never do that again where we're watching 3 episodes, but shout out to those people who came to movie night. One person like, "Oh, we're gonna do this again every Friday." I mean, we had a great time. We had popcorn, we had hot dogs, and then after every scene, we discussed it and like a group, and it was amazing. It was amazing. We had a few people here, and I'm just glad the turnout was great. And I do plan on showing some of the testimonials and everything. But we sat here from 7:30 to 12 midnight to 1, and we watched one episode out there. It was 3 episodes, so we binge watched it. Right, we binge watched every bit of it. And again, it's called Children's End. Okay, you can get it on Amazon. Make sure it's the 3 episode one. You will not be disappointed. You will be shocked watching that. And you got to listen to it. It talked about consciousness. It talked about the mind. It talked about who was God or who was not God. It talked about how the politicians and how everything is set up and how the world could be with free energy, without money, without jobs. You didn't have to work. But it was all based on alien control, though. It was a hell of a based on alien control and how those aliens were doing their things. Yeah, Maya was there. She had a great time, and like I said, you got to look at it and check it out. And if you do watch it, give a shout out in the chat and let me know that you checked it out, because once again, it is a fabulous movie when it comes down. But it was deep. It was really, really deep when it comes down to it. Now, for those of you in the chat, let me know who's going to watch Yaya online. If y'all can't come down here in Dallas, and like I said, the tickets are less than a cup of coffee a month. I mean, maybe not even a piece of candy a day. For you to hop in. Y'all know the girl is deep, and we're going to be talking about uncensored stuff. You guys should be jumping in there right now, getting your online tickets. And I'm telling you, the price on it is designed for everybody to watch it and everything else. We are in planning to figure out a way where some of you can watch us when we do our community events a little bit to support us and everything else. But if you plan on doing it, definitely go entertruth.com. And then you can get an online ticket there. It's also in the description of the video. If you decide to do that too, you just click on it, go into the description of the video. It should take you over to the website. Everybody on here should be getting that ticket. I mean, there is no joke, but you can also support us. So it's reciprocity. And show your support so I can give you a shout out and everything else, and go there, because we're doing some amazing stuff as a community. We've been changing a lot of stuff, going back and forth, trying to figure out what works, but we're getting there, and we're going to be something that no one's ever seen before in time. I love it. I love each and every one of you who comes and be here. And then there's some that I don't see anymore. And, we know times and things change and weather changes and seasons changes and everything else. But one thing for certain, we're going to be here constantly here in the team. And in the team, we're here. We're going to be here and constantly building and everything else. Somebody say you replay it for us broke people. Yeah. Yeah. I can put it in a Patreon, get you a Patreon subscription. We're going to start putting a lot of stuff there. So, but you're not broke. Just remember that broke is a term that I wouldn't want you to be using. Just say at this moment, notice or whatever, or now, but you can predict it in the future. If you say you want to see it, you want to be there or watch it, just say it and watch what happens. It'll manifest itself for you. You already just say you wasn't going to see it, and then you're saying you broke. Now the body doesn't know. Does it mean your fingers don't work? Does it mean your leg doesn't work? Or you don't know what broke is, and so therefore give it a whole nother depiction of everything. And so you're not broke. Like I said, you're just just in a down season. We all go through that, right? We all go through a little down season. Yeah, you are. You said financial challenge. You're not even that. Listen, I don't know what streaming costs, but I will tell you, whatever you're paying to see me on here, is you're making it happen because you're able to get knowledge and everything else. So keep up the good work and continue to press forward. I know, yes, sometimes things get a little difficult for us. We all been there. I've been there, on a lot of occasions. And so there's nothing against you and what the situation is, but we're not going to tag ourselves as being broke, like you said, and just kind of go from there. But But anyway, you made it tonight, so that's good. We will continue to do that. So with that being said, I'm getting ready to get out of here. It's about an hour. I got to go back and see how I can edit this video at the beginning, cut out some of all this stuff on YouTube so that the new people watching it will get some of the other stuff. I'll be on Forbidden Knowledge tomorrow. I'll try to use this system. Actually, I'll use the old system tomorrow and just kind of go there and we just kind of see what we're doing. But in the meantime, like I said, support us. Support the channel. If you haven't got that book of sacred secrets, go get it. It's download, okay? And then you can print it up like I did and put it into a little package. But definitely go download it. Make sure you can go do that. It's digital. Any kind of way you guys want to support and do what we do. And like I said, if you in the area, once again, for Yaya that's going to be here, come to my birthday party. Come to my birthday party. Maybe you don't even buy a ticket to the event, but the birthday party, just show up in the evening about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Come to the birthday party, and we're going to have a great time. Brother Yosef, a lot of people coming to town. You can Judah, a crystal custodian. There's people flying in. That's going to help. It'll be my first birthday, y'all. Okay. And so, and when you do go to the Yaya, you can do a birthday contribution. And two, if you want to say, here, Roderick, happy birthday, you can do that as well. And everything else is all cool. And I think you can do that anyway, one way or the other. But yeah, so we're going to be really doing some things. If you go to truthversusauthority.org, if you got anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and submit a contact us file. Pretty much, if you have some things you want to say, you got a camera and you want us to bring you on the show, we're willing to do that. You know, we'll just kind of have a phone conversation with you first. If any of you that decides that you have some things you want to talk about, maybe some things that you need to discuss of some of the things that you're seeing, and pretty much from there, then those are things that you can do. I do now have phone consultations. You can go to the website, truthversusauthority.org, and go ahead and book a phone. I've been doing them all last week, really getting some deep information. Some people really having some really connection. Some people are really getting their alien connection validated because of things I've went through and know. And so I'm actually validating a lot of that people just didn't know. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, you're being contacted. And then directing them how to open up that door more, because not all of stuff is bad, right? Some of you are being contacted by your descendant ancestors, some would say, but I will say from the species that are trying to get you to do what you came to do on Earth. And it's hard for them to do it, but they do it in a dream state, right? So that phone consultation, like I said, you can go to truthversusauthority.org, not .com, .org. Scroll right on the front page. You can book it right there, and pretty much, and you and I'll be on the phone. We'll be talking for an hour and we'll go through some deep stuff. And so just trying to make myself a little more available, but also available to the people who really need that availability. And so if you really need that availability, then there's a way that you and I will come together to really do those things, and pretty much. And so with that being said, I love you. If you hadn't heard the word I love you this weekend, I want you to know that I love you. You can put it in the chat. I love you all, so that other people that are listening can hear that. You know, I tell you all the time that I think that's one of the most powerful things that we can hear, encounter, or experience is true love. And that love is non-judgmental. That love is being able to get through things, you know, again, being able to get to the other side of roadblocks that could happen, not only in your life, your relationships and everything else, because true love should be able to get you through a lot of things. And we do know it's blind. It will let you look over some things too. But at the end of the day, it's true love and all those things. And so again, I love each and every one of you. And again, you know, you can tell somebody you love them too. Not the little parrot love you back, love you. You know, when we just talking some serious stuff, you know, and pretty much from there. So someone said they went on Prime. I can't find the movie. It's there. I just ordered a DVD that we watched from Prime, and then I watched it by buying it to watch. Now I didn't check and see if it was for purchase. I mean, I bought it. but at one point in time I rented it, right? And so it should be on there, or just kind of Google it in there and give our shout out to our godmother Diana. I love you back as well. So yeah, so go to Prime and see if you can see it, or there if you type it into Google, then it probably show you where it's available. Maybe on Tubi, maybe one of these other places too. But it's 3 episodes, okay, and so it is powerful. And that's Children's End. So definitely go check that out. And pretty much, all right. So we're gonna get out, and once again, get you a copy of the book, The Unspeakable Truth. You can go to Amazon right now and get it. It's a bestseller. It's really deep. I think 600 pages in this thing. 400 pages. It's really deep, good stuff. And for those of you who have already got one, and those of you who bought it through Forbidden Knowledge, you should be having yours shipped already by now. But you can go to Amazon and get it right on the back. And so I don't know how to purchase on Prime. I purchased it. I purchased the DVD that we watched, but I also purchased it before to stream it before I bought the DVD for our movie night. So I'm not really for sure, but just go to Amazon and see it. If not, Google it, and then it will show you wherever you can get it, and maybe it's streaming in some other places. And we will just kind of look at it from there. And so we'll do that. All right. So with that being said, I'll end this just with our promo commercial. And then again, I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. And then I plan on streaming during the daytime around 3 o'clock this week too. I'm trying to test some hours. We will still do our night and some daytime streams. So y'all be looking out for that one too. All right. Good night.
I want to thank everybody who's got your copy of the Book of Sacred Secrets. I've been getting incredible reviews on people and how this has been helping people today. This is something that you must have in your arsenal. This book is going to be life-changing for you. It's a downloadable copy, so you'll be able to print it up, print a sheet up, or whatever you want, study, take it to work, give it to someone, and maybe some in particular information. But this is something that you need in your arsenal. Go to the website. The link is right here in the description. It's also in the video as well. You got to get your copy of the Book of Sacred Secrets. And once again, it supports the community. True information is from the cosmos, from infinite consciousness that you need to learn and you need to have in your arsenal.